Welcome, 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 everybody. Back in the house. How's everybody doing today? Just want to say what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up. How's everything going? Going. It's good out here in Northern California today. It's pretty nice. It's starting to be hot again. First it was cold, now it's hot. We're talking about today we're going to be in the hundreds. No, they said 90, the high 90s. But Death Valley is supposed to be at 104 today. It's going to be hot. New York City is flooded. I was checking that out, and I mean, it's flooded. Cars are underwater. Subway systems are flooding. The water's going down. It's just ridiculous in New York City right now. I was checking that out. That's not doing too good. So what else is going on out there today? We were at the casino again, having a good time the other day, which was fun. Didn't win no money, but I didn't really lose any either. But yeah, everything's been cool with me. I've been just chilling. Was talking to a guy about baseball the other day. He was talking about, no, not baseball, football. He was talking about the football player that passed away. Oh my God, what is that guy's name? I forgot the guy's name, but yeah, he was talking about the football player that passed away that played for Chicago, and I don't even remember him, so it wasn't a big deal to me. I see Biden is talking about rebuilding the wall, the Mexico border wall. Now, he ran on the platform of, I'm not going to increase the wall, but now he's decided to continue to build the wall, stating that the money that he's using for the wall was allocated to build the wall when Trump was in office. So he has to use that money to build the wall. I think because it's such an uproar now, because they're flooding the system with immigrants. They're bringing in a lot of immigrants and they're flooding Chicago right now with immigrants. And they're flooding the system and it's draining the resources from the taxpayers that are already here. You have taxpayers here that are having problem with rent, mortgage, high taxes, jobs, homelessness, people that are right here right now, and they're having a problem with it. But they're opening up the door to Ukrainians. They're opening up the door to Mexico. They're opening up the door to a lot of different immigrant situations that they're letting come in here and just flooding the system here. And we're being overwhelmed. And he's starting to get that backlash of being overwhelmed with the flooding of people. So he's feeling now, I got to do something because the election season is coming up. So I have to start making a move when it comes to this immigration thing, but I got to do it and make it seem like I'm not doing it because I didn't run on that platform. This is from Trump. He ran on the platform, and I got to use the money that was allocated towards the fence or the wall. So my hands are tied. I got to do it now. I have to use that money for that. That's the only reason why I'm increasing the fence or increasing the wall. No, he's getting the backlash from foundational Black Americans in droves because the meager resources that we have here in the United States are being drained. So he's seeing that push and he's losing the Black vote. Biden got into office by a big block of Black voters. So he has to try to win that back now. So now he has to run on the platform of, I gotta do something, but I gotta make it seem like it's not me doing it, but I have to do something. I have to make a move because I'm losing the vote. Now, grassroots foundational Black Americans, we are more so not voting because we're not getting anything tangible. There's no tangibles being offered to Black people in general. Now, he'll offer things to LGBT, he'll offer things to immigrants, he'll offer things to anyone that's Ukraine. They just said they're going to give them another $20 billion. And that's what it be. So, foundational Black Americans, we're here and we're trying to get reparations now. We're really pushing towards something tangible. And what I'm receiving from people that I talk to, they're saying to me, well, why should I give tangibles? Why should my tax dollar go towards paying Black people reparations, foundational Black Americans reparations? Why should I do that? I tell them, because what I was taught. You have to pay that because you're part of this governmental system. Okay? When your family came here, when your family immigrated here, you joined a government that had a debt. So, being that you chose to come here, and your family, if not you, your family members chose to come here, they were given that debt. They took on that debt. So, being that they took on a debt that is now part of their system, what happens now is that you're part of this system now. You're part of this governmental system and they owe a debt. So therefore your tax dollars are owed. Foundational Black Americans, we didn't do anything to the Native Americans. We didn't steal any land from them. But every year, the 5 civilized tribes that they call the 5 civilized tribes, they were already civilized. But the 5 civilized tribes, Cherokee Nation being the top, they get money allocated from the government. That governmental money is from our tax dollars. I'm a part of the government. I didn't do anything to them, but I still owe because I'm part of this system. When the Italians came here, when they were doing work for the system, the government went bad on them and they hung a few of those Italian people that were here. I forgot what year it was. I want to say in the early 1800s, if I'm not mistaken. But something happened and they hung the Italians because the Italians was doing servitude work. They were doing indentured servants work, where they would come out, work on plantations, work and do certain things for the government or the plantation owners, but they did it in 4 to 7 year periods. So after their 4 to 7 year contract, they would get a thing called freedom dues, in which they would get money, they would get land, animals, and weapons at the end of their freedom dues. So there are a lot of people that are Italian say, well, we were out there doing slave work too. No, you chose to do that. They offered to bring, they told Italy and in certain Germany and certain places, send us your people, you're destitute. Send us your people that are your prisoners. These were prisoners. These were people that were outliers in society in their countries that came here. They weren't the brightest or the best that they sent to work in these fields. They sent their worst to come work in these fields. So they came to work in the fields, but they were offered contracts, indentured servitude. When they were done with their contracts, they got land, money, animals, and whatnot to sustain them for the rest of their time here. So it was a purpose for them to be here. So don't let them tell you that they were here like foundational Black American slaves going through chattel slavery. It wasn't the same. It was not the same. So, yeah. But that takes me back to, like I said, those Italians were here and they hung a few of them. Literally, they hung them. But when they did hang them, Italy was about to go to war with the United States at that point. They were going to go to war because they hung some of their people. So the United States had to offer an apology, and it offered them reparations. It gave the families of the people that they hung money. Our tax dollars had to go towards that. Our tax dollars had to pay for that atrocity that happened. It had to pay them. But we didn't hang them. Foundational Black Americans didn't put them in the situation that they did, but our tax dollars had to pay for it. I want to say actually it was in the 1900s when this happened, I believe. So with that said, Native Americans had to get paid, and we had to pay for it. Italians had to get paid, okay, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, what happened after that? They started rounding up all the Japanese people that were here in America and putting them in internment camps. They started just taking them off the streets, going to homes, because they didn't know who the enemy was at that point. So if we don't know who the enemy is, anybody that's Japanese or anybody of that origin, just round them up. We'll work it out on the back end. We need to find out their social security numbers, who they know, who they're involved with, their family members, who they're married to. We need to find out what's going on. So get them, put them in internment camps, and we'll work this out on that level. So they rounded up all the Japanese people after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And after that, after they cleared it all up and got it all right, they gave them reparations. They paid them, I want to say, $20,000 per family member that was lineage. $20,000 for the members that were rounded up or their descendants if they passed away. They got reparations for that. Our tax dollars had to pay for that. So when I say, what I'm getting at is, what I'm saying to you is, now that Black foundational Black Americans are looking for reparations, and we're going through this reparation hearing in California, we're going through this reparation hearing throughout the nation. It's a big push. It's in mainstream news. It's in everything you look at on the internet. We're going through it. Now it's a problem. Now people are patting their pockets. Now it's like, you know what, man? I ain't even got it right now. You know what I'm saying? I was just about to go get it, but I ain't even got it right now. It's a problem when Black people want it. Now, we have been the most aggrieved people here in the States. Our ancestors built this country on the backs of slaves, on the backs of selling family members, on the backs. The foundation of this country was built on that. But it seems like anytime foundational Black Americans want something, it's always a problem, or everyone wants to latch on to it and say that, well, yeah, they're trying to get some, but what about LGBT? Or they want some, but what about the Mexicans? Or they want something, well, what about Ukrainians? Everybody wants to latch on to it because they've been eating off of us for so long that now that we want something for ourselves, it's like, how dare you? It's like it's such a problem that you want something for yourself. We can't have that. How dare you want something for your people? How dare you even ask for it? We don't have it. We need to do a study. We need to do a 4-year study, 7-year study. People like Dr. Clyde Anderson have been asking for reparations for almost 50, 60 years. And before him, it was a push. It's like when we ask for something or we want justice, it's always a problem. So I get it. But that takes me to what I want to talk about today. I was talking to another guy in a restaurant one time, just about a couple of days ago. And I was talking to him. He was telling me how his family is Native American. And I said, do you know that most Native Americans, so-called Native Americans, aren't Native Americans, they're Europeans? He said, no, my family is on the Dawes roll. We go back to a certain lineage. I said, have you ever heard of a $5 Indian? He said, no, I've never heard of that. I said, you've never heard of a $5 Indian in your life? He said, no, I've never heard of a $5 Indian. So I had to explain to him that in the 1800s, in 1895, there was a Dawes Roll Act. Even before that, in 1887, there was the Dawes Act, literally. Because the government came in and took the natives' land. It stole a lot of their land, and it had to figure out how we're going to divvy this land up in sections to give to the natives that we stole from. So the Dawes Roll, they came to Indian land and they would set up camp, set up tents and camp there, and have a table out there and have this roll book where if you're a Native American on that land, you need to come down, sign this, because we're doing a treaty with the Indians. We're going to do some type of setup that you're going to get certain perks for us stealing your land. We're going to get the bulk of it and everything that's tangible on it, but we're going to give you guys allotments of money, a little bit here and there. We're going to give you guys the law to run your own section of land. We're going to give you guys medical. We're going to make sure that the government takes the tax dollars and make sure that you guys are allocated a certain amount of money every year to take care of your people on these little plots of land that we give you. Okay? So you have to come down and sign this thing called the Dawes Roll. You had to sign and make sure that you was on there. Okay. 1895, you got to remember slavery was over in 1865. So a lot of African black people that were here, that was enslaved, that are now have become foundational black Americans, have started mingling in with the natives there. Also, there was black people here on this land already. There was thousands of tribes on this land, on the United States land already. And a lot of those people that were here were black people. Everyone here wasn't the red natives, the Mongolian native phenotype that you see. It's in books. Get a book called They Came Before Columbus by Ivan Van Sertima. And he breaks it down how Columbus came here and he saw black people here. A lot of the early explorers that came here saw black people, saying that they got those spear tips, those gold spear tips. I may have talked about this before, that came from Ethiopia. Those same spear tips were here. So they were like, these look like the people from Ethiopia. That's what they called black people during that time frame. They would call them Ethiopians. So black people were here in the United States. Why wouldn't they be? If black people were the genesis of civilization through time of migration, traveling out all over the planet, why wouldn't they be here in the United States? They were in China. You can go to China right now, and there's a section of China that black people over there look just like me. You can go to Australia. They have dark black people with afros in Australia right now as we speak. You can go, pick a land. You can go to Fiji Islands. Go to Fiji right now. It's people there that look just like me, darker than me. Some of them have straighter hair, but they look just like me. So You can go to the United States, but it wasn't the United States. Remember, it wasn't that yet. But you can go to the landmass that we call now the United States. Why wouldn't there be dark people there now? You can go to Caribbean islands, and black people have traveled the world centuries. So, yes, there were black people here in the United States, not just the Mongolian red Native American that we know as Indians now here. So, takes me back. You sign the Dawes Roll to make sure that you get certain allotments of land, that you're a part of a certain tribe, and if you're part of that tribe, this is what you get in that tribe. This is what you get being a Cherokee, a Choctaw, a Seminole. This is what you get for being that particular Indian brand, because they were only going to give it to the five civilized, that they call five civilized tribes. The Creek Indians, this is your allotment. Once the word got out that the Native Americans were getting something, and being that the floodgates of immigration had opened up for Germany and all Ireland, Italy, all these places opened up and was letting people in, they started going to the Midwest and they started paying $5 to get on that roll book. They would come in, well, I'll give you $5 if you put me on there. Got to remember, the land wasn't really worth anything in the Midwest. That was the Wild Wild West era, or the certain areas of the United States. It wasn't no harm. So you give me $5 for everybody that I put on, you were making a fortune. So it got around. Bring $5 and you can get yourself put on the Dawes Roll. So it became a term called you're a $5 Indian. Now, a lot of the natives that were already involved, that were really true natives, they were telling themselves, I don't trust the government. So a lot of those people weren't even signing the book and putting themselves on, and they really were from this land. So you got natives that are not signing the book. You got immigrants coming in, flooding the system with $5 a sign, making them rich. The people that's there on the Dawes Roll, which were government officials, making them rich, letting people know, come on down, man, give me $5, you can get put on. The actual natives were getting dwindled down to nothing, while the actual $5 fake Indians were being boosted at that time. Now, I just told you that there were also black people on this land that were mingling in with the Indians. Native American Indians and so-called Native American Indians and Native American foundational black Americans that are now, but were Native black people on the Americas then, before it was America, were mingling with each other, marrying, having children. You got a lot of people in your family now that can trace their family members back to certain called Native names. Oh, my mom is a Cherokee. Oh, my mom was a Seminole. There's black Seminole Indians that never left their land right now in the Hamptons in New York City. Check that out. The Hamptons in New York City, there's black Seminoles up there right now fighting because they never left their land. They couldn't be finessed because their generations never left. Now the blacks that were the Cherokees and the Choctaw and the Creeks, they got finessed off the system because they started saying to themselves, anybody that's black with the phenotypes of those African phenotypes, we need to get them off. So they created a thing called the Freedmen's Bureau. So it was take them off the Dawes Roll and put them on